They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money. The pressure be calling. Left on my blessings. I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection. I summon and dub it. Cause they got problems on problems.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another live video. What is up, everybody in the chat? Mr. Glass, of course, the graphic god, the infamous, the legendary graphic god is in here. What is up? Six Slayer, what is going on? Ice Queen, it is always good to see you in the chat. Christopher Hart, what is the deal, my brother? Guys, some crazy news happened pretty much yesterday evening that we got to get into. This video is about to get really interesting, and not only that, I do have something else for you guys as well, because it seems that there's been this huge debate about scalable games and games that are at launch of the new systems will also be playable on the systems we have now. And what does that mean? So I hope you guys can hear me well. I am using my new microphone for this, and we definitely got to get into this. Yo, what is up, Handy Gamer? What is going on? Shout out to everybody. And before we really get started, you know the drill, guys. YouTube does not like to do their job. So if you can share this out on any social media where you talk video games, let people know we are going in. We are going to be talking about Sony and their plans for E3 2020. And I got some information about certain games coming out for quote-unquote next generation. It's going to be an interesting video. Definitely share it out. Definitely hit that thumbs up button as well. What is up to the Don? Oh, Don, I gotta send you that thing, man. I forgot. I gotta send you that thing. My bad. David, what is going on? David, yo, he is coming in here from Costa Rica. Shout out to Costa Rica. Awesome. Yo, Cali Rex is here from the crown. You cannot get the crown of neutrality, brother. Dude, I am the crowned King Neutral. But what is up, Cali? Good to see you in the chat. And yeah, let's get started here. So I'm gonna pull up the article real quick, so I won't be able to see the chat for a second. But it seems that PlayStation will not be participating in E3 2020. Now, this past Saturday, we talked about this on Next Podcast. It was coming from Michael Pachter. And with coming from Michael Pachter, I will let you guys know, I thought this was his prediction. Now, come to find out, because Sony did announce this, and they announced this to gamesindustry.biz, all right? They came out and they kind of discussed their plans. Games Industry is where I found this information. It is an article. I do have it linked in the description below, so this way you guys can check it out for yourself. But yeah, Sony is stating that they will not participate in E3 2020, and of course, this caused a lot of response from gamers out there in the community, because if you think about it, you know, this is the launch year for new hardware, so you know it's a pretty important, pretty big deal, and you would figure that E3 kind of being like the mecca of the video games industry, a place where PC gamers, where Xbox gamers, Nintendo gamers, PlayStation gamers, they all come together to see what is coming out in the future within the games industry. You kind of thought it was a no-brainer that they were going to be there. But no, Sony has decided they are going to say no to E3 2020. Now, one thing you always get from this channel is my honest opinion, okay? when it comes to preferred platforms, stuff like that, I don't try to sugarcoat anything when it comes to, news and stuff like that. So if it's Xbox news, I'm not just going to absolutely sugarcoat something because I prefer to play on Xbox. This news right here, and the reason to why Sony is doing this now, when it comes down to it, their reasoning, or at least kind of like the information around this topic, is their reasoning is they thought E3 would become a more consumer-based conference. So in other words, like Gamescom, like PAX, stuff like that, they thought it was going to kind of transform itself into that type of conference, that type of convention. And what they're stating is, since they haven't done that, Sony isn't going to show up at E3. So basically, it's almost, the way I'm seeing this, it's almost kind of like a protest to E3 being a more gamer-based, a more consumer-based convention than kind of like the gaming news media and stuff like that. They wanted more actual gamers, actual consumers to be able to check out E3, go in, and all that good stuff. And when you look at it that way, guys, because I am for the gamer at heart, I gotta side with Sony on this. If this is the absolute reason why they are not attending E3, and I'm saying if this is, and this is the only thing I can go by right now, this is the only thing that Sony is stating, all right? If the reason why they're not showing up at E3, it's not because they think they're big enough or anything like that. If the real reason why is because E3 hasn't evolved into a more consumer-based convention, I got to roll with Sony on this, man. I got to support them on this. This is a pro gamer, a pro community type thing, because I feel more consumers / gamers should be involved in E3, should be allowed to come in and stuff like that. We've seen it time and time again with conferences like Gamescom, okay? Where Gamescom is completely open to the public. Throughout Gamescom history, there has been kind of like Xbox conferences. There has been Christopher, you went from downplaying what I was saying to agreeing with me. That's a little insane. But Gamescom has done this for years. You look at PAX East, PAX West, PAX South, those types of conferences, and if Sony thought that that's where E3 was going and they're not happy with where it is right now, still being really heavy on the gaming news media or the gaming media side of things. Yeah, Chris, that's what I think you did. But if they feel like it's too media focused instead of being kind of like back to the consumers, then guess what, guys? I'm going to have to side with Sony on this. And it is pretty crazy. Now, Sony's plan of action is to actually take part in more consumer-based conferences. Wild Bates, I really want to go to PAX East now because I'm expecting PlayStation to be there. And here's the reason why. Their plan of attack is to go to more consumer-based conventions and conferences and stuff like that. And PAX East is right there. It is definitely a consumer / gamer based convention. So it's going to be really interesting to see what is going on here if they really do decide that they're going to take part in the more consumer based conferences, gaming conferences out there, gaming conventions and stuff like that. So, when it comes down to it, it is very disappointing because, like I said, E3 to me is the video game industry kind of like Mecca. That's the one place where everybody comes together. What I would say would be the biggest place, the biggest conference. I got my phone alarm going off. The biggest conference, where Nintendo gamers, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, they all come together and see what's going on for the future. Callie Rex says, to be honest, I think they just want to do their own thing as they did their own event for The Last of Us 2. You know, Callie, when it comes down to it, well, didn't they do The Last of Us? They did The Last of Us 2 at E3 as well, where they had a tent and all that good stuff. So I'm not too sure about that. But like I said, I can only go by what is being stated now. All right, that's what you guys deserve. I'm gonna react and give you my opinions to what is being stated, and from what they're saying, I can't fault them for it. I can't say that they are wrong. If that is the actual reason why they are not going to E3, they want it to be a more consumer-based convention, I got to roll with Sony on this one. I got to agree with them, and I'm going to support their decision. Now, if anything comes out where they might have an ulterior motive, then you might get another video from me down the road. But as for now, if this is the reason why, and if they are really going to take part in smaller consumer-based conventions, basically, and not just the ones that they're going to throw, all right? Because then that would kind of point to the fact that they had a more ulterior motive when it comes down to it. But if they're going to PAX East, PAX South, if they, got a big presence at Gamescom, all that good stuff, and smaller conventions throughout the year, I'm down. No, Chris, this is what Sony said. I put the link to the article, brother, in the description below. All right? And I am sharing my thoughts and opinions on that. So, like I said, it's disappointing because when it comes to E3, I was excited to try to get there, thinking that, the big three of Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony would be there. New hardware with the PS5, the Series X, and I got to say it. This news has taken some of that shine off of E3 2020 in terms of trying to stretch finances and get there. You see what I'm saying? I look at E3 as a place where they all come together and share their plans for the future. And if they're not all there, then it's a lesser E3, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, it seems that, again, this year, Xbox has the main stage. Xbox will have the focus. Phil Spencer even came out and stated that they are working hard on their E3, which I'm excited about. As a gamer, you want to see what is coming out, what the plans are, all that good stuff. I've also been hearing rumors that in February, more substantial rumors now than what we heard before, which was just a couple gamers on Twitter or something like that, aiming towards February. But it seems like February they will unveil the PlayStation 5, hopefully. That's what it's looking like, guys. I can't wait to see exactly what the system looks like, what their plans are for a launch lineup, all that good stuff. This is a great year, guys, to be a console gamer. Anytime it's the year of new hardware dropping, and I'm not talking about slimmer versions of what we have and stuff like that, but I'm talking about new actual hardware. It is a great time to be a console gamer right now, and I am excited to see what Xbox has to offer. I'm excited to see the PlayStation 5 unveiling. I also want to see when Xbox is really going to unveil kind of the Series X and possibly Project Lockhart as well. And of course, games, the launch lineup, where they're going into the future when it comes to these consoles, like a year or two out, stuff like that. I'm excited to see what is happening and what we might be playing within the next couple years. So, guys, you're in the chat right now. Let me know what you think about Sony saying no to E3. Like I said, it's disappointing. But with the reasoning that they are putting out there, at the end of the day, we are a gaming community. No matter what console, no matter what piece of hardware you prefer to play on, we are a part of a single community here. And we got to think about the gamers more than the corporations, right? So if Sony, if what they're stating is true with the reason why they are skipping E3, and it's almost kind of like in a protest to what E3 is now and what they think it should be in terms of a more consumer/gamer based convention, kind of like open to the public, get your tickets, you know, kind of like what they do at Gamescom. If that is the reason, I am all for them. 40 views and only 20 likes. Let's get 20 more likes from the chat. Thank you, Callie. I appreciate that. Now, we're going to have to switch topics here. And this is going to be very, very interesting, okay? People have been arguing about Xbox's kind of like view of the launch of the Series X and moving forward, because Matt Booty came out and talked about not pressuring gamers to have to buy the new console at launch. And the way he's talking about this is stating that Xbox's first-party development for about a year after the launch will also be available on the Xbox One series of devices. Now, this caused a huge thing on Twitter. I swear, my DMs and my Twitter feed are completely filled with people arguing back and forth about whether or not this is good for gaming. All right. A couple things I wanted to put out here, and I know I made a video as well, so I might repeat a couple things, but I got some new information as well. But one of the things I will state, when it comes to launch lineup games, they are hardly ever innovative at the core of the game. All right? When it comes to launch lineup games, a lot of times the developers will really go in and try to push the game graphically. So this way it catches the eyes of kind of like, the gamers who are in GameStop or at Best Buy, looking around and stuff like that, and they have game trailers and stuff like that going up there. They really want to catch the eye of the gamers to, invest in the new game. So, invest in the new hardware. It's never, I've never really seen a truly innovative game come out at the very beginning of the generation. Now, I believe Dead Rising 3, tried to boast, the most zombies on a map in any game, kind of ever. And of course, until Days Gone came out, because Days Gone, when it comes to quote-unquote zombies, their hordes are absolutely insane. But I'm talking about the launch, Xbox One. Dead Rising 3 had the most zombies, but technically it wasn't running that well as well at launch. So, but very, very few times do you see a game try to push that innovation, at the launch of the hardware. It's usually within 1 to 3 years within that generation where you really start seeing games really try to push that new innovation, really try to make, bigger games, stuff like that. So with that being said, I don't know what the big deal is about Xbox games, Xbox Series X games being playable on the Xbox One. And then there's people stating that, because they have to run on the Xbox One, that it's going to hold the game back. And that's when I really started looking into things. And I have people really excited for a game called Godfall, which when the PS5 releases, that is going to at least be a timed exclusive to the PlayStation 5. Now, within that game's also coming out on PC. You know what the PC market does before a game comes out? One typical Latino. Listen, I got you, brother, but just hear me out here. This game Godfall, which is gonna be, at least a timed exclusive for the PS5 when the PS5 launches, is also gonna be on PC. And the PC market likes to give minimum specifications when it comes to a game being run on a computer. Now, check this out. Godfall, which a lot of people are hyping up, and it could be an absolutely great game. You know, I saw the trailer. The trailer's got me interested, definitely. Godfall, the minimum requirements that are predicted for Godfall is an Intel Core i5 2500 CPU, running at about 3.3 gigahertz. An i5 2500 at 3.3 gigahertz. Let that sink in, people. Not only that, if you want to talk about the graphics card, the minimum requirements predicted for that, the graphics card will be either minimum requirement AMD Radeon R9 380. Come on, guys. An R9 380 or the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960. System memory, about 8 gigabytes of RAM to run the game. So we got the Intel i5 2500 at 3.3 gigahertz. We have either the AMD Radeon R9 380 or the GTX 960, 2 gigabyte graphic card, by the way, with the 960. Guys, does that sound next gen to you? Those are the minimum requirements, or the predicted minimum requirements to run that game on PC. Do you hear where this argument about games being scalable? Chris, I know you don't like the truth, dude, but it's right here. It is right here. I am reading it right now. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, does it? Dude, I'm not saying it's not going to be excellent on PS5. What I'm saying is, you know, when it comes down to the requirements, the minimum requirements to run that game on PC, and people are arguing about scalability between a Series X game being run on an Xbox One, it sounds pretty stupid to me. All right? Like I said, when it comes down to it, launch titles, they will be graphically impressive. And when it comes to graphically impressive, graphics are pretty much the most scalable thing that you can have in a video game. You can change the light source, like say Halo Infinite, for instance, can have ray tracing light sources, right, on the Series X. And then on the Xbox One version, they have a more baked-in solution when it comes to lighting. You got texture resolution, stuff like that, which can be scaled down for that hardware. When you look at the minimum predicted requirements for Godfall, an i5 2500K, that's pretty much one of my first computers had that CPU in it. AMD Radeon R9 380 will never break your bank. Neither will the GTX 960 2 gigabyte graphics card. So I don't know why people are talking about how scalability can hold the Series X games back when the predicted minimum requirements for Godfall, which, you know, is coming out on PC, it's also at least a timed exclusive on PS5, has minimum requirements of the i5 2500, the GTX 960, 8 gigabytes of system RAM, DirectX 11 compatible graphics card. Guys, do you see where this whole scalability thing is absolute nonsense when it comes to the launch of new hardware and the launch lineups, all right? There are people out there trying to absolutely praise Godfall, even though we didn't really see any gameplay. The same way we didn't see any gameplay of Hellblade 2. The same way we didn't see any gameplay of Halo Infinite. I know people are excited, but why turn and start trying to attack other people for their excitement. It doesn't make any sense. All right. Other Zinc said, laugh my, I'll say butt off. Actually, no, we need to be risque. Laugh my ass off. Halo Infinite will be made on a $500 million slip space engine on the Xbox Series X that you will need a new, 3080 Ti graphics card. Zinc, you're messing with me, brother. All right, Chris. Well, Chris, if you're going to call people out for people praising Hellblade, and like I said, I can understand the excitement, but you can't praise Godfall and then talk about, games scaling down to the Xbox One. That means it's going to hold them back. It's not. And when it comes down to it, within the industry, right? Xbox's first party is actually they have become known for how much they can scale games and how much they can create ports going to PC. In the PC space, a lot of people actually, give Xbox first party a lot of props for the quality of the PC ports of the games, of their first party games. And when you look at the minimum requirements of Godfall, they're actually around the minimum requirements of Gears of War 4 on PC, which is a current title game, a current generation game. Now, you already heard me repeat multiple times the predicted minimal requirements on Godfall. Let's go to Gears of War 4 system requirements real quick. CPU for the minimum requirements, or it actually just says system requirements, but I'm going to say minimum. For Gears of War 4, which came out a couple years ago, an Intel Core i5 3470 at 3.3 gigahertz, right? So an i5 3470. Let's take a look. 8 gigabytes of RAM, just like Godfall there. All right. Now let's look at the video card. The GTX 750 Ti or the Radeon R7 260X. So on the graphics side, you're taking a dip in terms of the graphics card. All right. Let's see here. All right, so we have system memory at 8 gigabytes, i5 3470, and say a GTX 750 Ti. Those are the requirements for Gears of War 4. Let's go back. Godfall, an Intel Core i5 2500, 8 gigabytes of memory, and a GeForce GTX 960. Do you guys hear this? Please let me know you understand what I'm saying here. Yeah. I hope this really goes out there for people who are trying to go in and say scalability is going to hold so many things back, because it's not. And what we're talking about here, we're talking about forwards compatibility on Xbox for the first year. For the first year. All right. I thought they were going to do it for longer. I'm actually, if anything, I would be upset that they're not doing it for longer. But when it comes down to it, they are giving people a year before they really have to look at, possibly jumping in on the series, whether it's the Series X, whether it's Project Lockhart. Yeah, Antonio. I don't think it'd go N64, boy. But guys, I am showing how scalability does not matter, especially with launch lineup games where the developers are going to go in on the graphics the most when it comes to launch lineups. So this way they can catch the gamer's eye. All right. So when it comes down to it, Enrix, dude, I actually addressed that in the beginning. When it came to Michael Pachter and what he said about Sony and E3, I looked at it like he was predicting that. Now, obviously, somebody within the industry told him that, and that's where that came from. Hold on, let me get a drink. Voice getting a little scratchy there. But yeah, so when it comes to Pactor, I thought it was a prediction. Do I still believe any of Pactor's predictions? No, I don't. So he obviously had somebody within the industry tell him that was basically going on. You know, Enrix, when it comes down to it, there is a saying, a broken watch can be right twice a day. You see what I'm saying? Ah, shut up, Chris. You take L's all the time. You never admit it. But when it comes down to it, do you guys see what I'm saying about the scalability here? We're looking at the minimum specs of a game like Godfall being comparable to the minimum requirements of Gears of War 4. That doesn't make any sense then. If scalability is going to hold the game back, so is Godfall going to be good then? Because its minimum requirements seem to be really close to what Gears of War 4's minimum requirements are on PC. A bit too much? Like I said, dude, a broken watch is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? And I used to watch him at the beginning of this generation. His predictions became a little, I guess you can say, outlandish. I'm going to be nice and say outlandish. But guys, that's pretty much it for now. So just a quick roundup before we can get out of here, and I can get some games in before I go to work. Sony says no to E3, and from what I read in the article, it's basically because they feel that E3 should be a more consumer/gamer-based convention like Gamescom, like PAX and stuff like that. And if that is the case, if that is their reasoning, I support Sony for doing that, all right? And then, of course, the whole game scalability thing being an absolute, like, myth. And people are quoting, like, John Linneman and stuff like that. People who go out and claim that they are professionals in this field should know better than to come out and just absolutely state that when consoles have a closed ecosystem and heavily customized hardware. Okay, you can't look at the PC side of things as like the end all be all. You know, when it comes down to it, when talking about a game like Godfall or Gears of War 4 being run on PC, they don't get that customization to get the most out of the hardware. So when I'm talking about the minimum requirements here, those are really the minimum requirements. And when it comes to console has more modified hardware that they get more juice out of their tech. Okay? It's basically, I'm trying to say it in kind of like the most basic way here. So hopefully that sheds some light on the whole scalability thing. Guys, get excited. New consoles are around the corner. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, possibly Series S as well. It is a great year. Guys, if you like the topics, you like the visuals that are going on in the back here, of course, I got The Last of Us 2 kind of like rolling as we're talking about this. This was a pretty major kind of like Sony heavy topic video. But if you like the topics, definitely hit that thumbs up button. Shout out to the almost 70 people watching right now. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And if you catch this show after we go live, definitely hit up the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Zombilla, for you, I will do that, man. And of course, I can't forget, it says it right there in the video, definitely subscribe. I am about less than 50 subscribers away from hitting that 4,000 mark, which just brings me even closer to giving away a console. At 5,000, I will give away a console on this channel to one of my subscribers. So definitely subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And for my boy Zombilla, Battletoads! Guys, I hope you have a great Tuesday. I'm going to have to go to work in a little while. But yeah, as for now, this is the X Spot. Hold on. One Typical Latino. Do you think Sony will reveal PS5 in February? Yo, One Typical Latino, everything's pointing that way right now. I hope so. I want to get information as soon as I can. I want to see, what the system looks like. I saw like the newest kind of like, I don't know if it was a fan created render or something like that of a PS5, and it looked really cool. It was nice. It was clean. It was smooth. I can't wait to see the actual PS5 and what they're doing for a launch lineup. Holiday of this year. I definitely want to see what games are going to be available for it. I cannot wait to see. And for my basketball fans out there, with these systems supporting like ray tracing and stuff like that, I cannot wait to see how realistic NBA 2K is going to look like this year. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. But again, thank you guys for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. And, as for now, this is the X Spot 448. And I am definitely signing off.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems.